Good morning, carnivores. This is Carnivore Corby coming at you from the great Buckeye State. Gonna make me another little road march video here. Third one of the year. I felt like doing a little walking today after working on my trench and chicken water line. Loading off tractor, digging holes down 4 foot in the ground. You get down in that old mud and clay, it'll suck the life out of you. I swear it will. I got aches and pains today, I'm telling you. All right, I'll be back. I'm back. I just walked by my neighbors who are Amish, and they have got a big garden out. Beautiful too. They get it in a little earlier than the rest of us folk. But that brings me to the subject of the day. I didn't have a subject for this video. I was just shooting from the hip. Gonna do my walk. And so I did raised beds out of a bunch of old refrigerators. About 28 of them to be precise. It's one of those things that you get one, the next thing you know, your neighbors want to get rid of theirs, the junk ones, and they don't want to put them in the landfill, which I thought was brilliant. Me and brilliant, that doesn't go together very well. Anyways, so I got 28 refrigerator freezers for raised beds, and something that I've done in the past, because I want to raise my own vegetables, my own fruit. So the only fruit that I ever think I'll ever consume again is watermelon, raspberries, and strawberries. And if you read up enough about the berries, they're the lowest on the glycemic index, glucose, and they're pretty tasty in yogurt, so that's my reason for it. And I do a little bit of blueberries that we have frozen, but the rest of the garden is zucchini, a couple tomato plants. We still do make salsa for like Christmas gifts and stuff like that. And let's see what else. Lettuce, cucumbers. Oh, and of course, our pumpkin patch. I love to grow the pumpkins and give them away and put them on your porch and all that sort of thing. And of course, I love homemade pumpkin pie. Not the crap out of the can, but I probably indulge in a piece of pumpkin pie a couple times a year if I get the chance. But I'm staying lying during the week, and carnivore keto on the weekends. I have a little bit of carnivore ice cream. I pretty much gave up the coffee. That plant water does nothing but I don't know. It isn't worth the cup of. Honestly, I should go to caffeinated, because the decaf is worse for you with the chemicals than caffeinated. But anyways, I still grow a little bit of a garden. Put all that work into raised beds for 5 years. So I'm going to go ahead and continue growing what I can. And anyways, all the other everything else that's in the garden, that's for, all that stuff is for the chickens. My watermelon really never turns out great. It'll get big, but I can't get the sweet flavor out of it. My pH or something in my soil isn't right. I've heard a guy called the Watermelon Man that sells watermelons off the side of the highway that people will actually pull off and get. He grows his in rabbit dung. Must be the perfect for the pH. Anyways, I've had a couple pieces of watermelon this weekend, over the Memorial weekend. I've had, actually so far my favorite dessert of desserts is my wife's, we call it cheesecake fluff. It's carnivore cheesecake. It's heavy cream, eggs, vanilla extract. It's kind of almost the same stuff that's in the ice cream, except it has cheesecake, Philadelphia cheesecake. But yeah, I mean, I don't miss much. I'll have a couple pieces of watermelon because I'm an abstainer, not one that can't eat anything, or I can't think of the name of it now. There's one that can eat a little bit, and then there's ones that just eat the whole thing. And now I could eat a whole watermelon in one setting. This kid loves watermelon. That was the way my mama raised me. Sit and eat watermelon, spit the seeds out. But I know what it will do to me. And so if I want a little bit of flavor, I'll have 2 to 3 pieces and I quit. And I've really done well with that. Because when I first started trying watermelon on the carnivore, it didn't turn out so well. Holy cow, it didn't. Because watermelon is fiber. And it is very glucose, fructose, whatever you want to call it. And, but can't think of the word for it, but I can eat a few pieces and stop. Now, at the beginning, I didn't. And I paid for it. Holy cow. It's one thing on this lifestyle. You can indulge in a few things that won't, I'll say, tear you up. But if you overindulge in something, you'll pay the price. Your body's going to say, hey, this isn't plan A. Now we're going to plan B. And, I mean, it just shows your system that everything was going good, and now you done mess with it. The one thing that I won't ever eat again, because I could have like a half a potato, a little bit of rice, that sort of thing don't bother me. A little bit of watermelon. I don't know about zucchini. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'll let the chickens have that. But if you get into like fried foods, seed oils that I've read so much about that is, if you've seen how they process it, all the chemical processing it takes to get that corn, canola, soy oil. Olive oil is probably the least, the best. But all the other oils, they're bleached and sanitized and aromatized. And I mean, just, it ain't a crush the bean and boop, you got oil. It's some really crazy chemical stuff. And so if you've ever eaten fried foods and you go right to the bathroom later and you're like, oh my, well, it wasn't the food that you had fried it in, it's the oil that you fried it in. The chemical slurry of oil. I did an experiment at the beginning of this a long time ago. I took an apple and I showed my wife. I said, there you go. There's your apple. You like that? Oh, yeah, I love apples. I mean, geez, oh, Pete, I did too. My new motto, though, isn't an apple a day will keep the doctor away. It's a steak a day will keep the doctor away. But anyways, I said, those apples are sprayed with pesticides and I don't know, herbicides and all the asides. And she's like, oh yeah, I'll just wash that off. And I'm like, I honestly don't believe you can wash that off. When you spray something on to something that is growing, how can just spraying it off be on the outside only? I don't believe it. My honest theory of all this vegetables and the fruits and everything, that actually is probably to some part is good for us, right? Other than oxalate overload. If you read up on that, that's interesting. Do your own research. I'm just here to entertain you, right? But anyways, the fruits and like your lettuce and your spinach and all that stuff that has leafy layers and layers of stuff, that all gets sprayed with glyphosate. If you don't believe me, go out early in the spring and watch the farmers. Speaking of that, that's a planter. That ain't a sprayer, but it does have something. Don't know what that's for. Maybe fertilizer. Who knows? Anyways, our farmers still spray these fields. Notice the field dying. See all that? That field's turning yellow and brown. That means it's sprayed with Roundup. The chemical that people are suing over for cancer. Yet, guess what? They still spray. Maybe not as much, and I'm not kicking the farmers. I know they got to do what they got to do. It's the unfortunate world we live in. They don't have time to work ground up and keep the weeds down. They're part-time farmers, most of them. But anyways, that spinach and that layers of lettuce, that gets glyphosate sprayed on it to keep the weeds and the bugs and all that sort of stuff down, because you want pretty vegetables nowadays. You don't want a little vegetable that might have a worm in it. So back to the worm, back to the story. Wow, they went and blocked my view. Really? I took that apple and I sprayed WD-40 on it. And I gave it back to my wife and I said, here you go. Do what you can to get that WD off there. And after you get it off there, go ahead and eat it. Whew, I made it. Okay, back to the road, the old dirt road. Here we go. So yeah, spray that WD-40 on that apple. Kind of hard to think that washing it off is gonna be safe, right? She couldn't do it. I definitely didn't do it. And then, yeah, they spray that early and that grows into that apple because, you know, it's a growing organism. Does that grow into the fruit? So one of my theories is the fruits and vegetables at the beginning of this supposed to be good for you, right? Maybe they do defeat cancer. Well, if you noticed in the market, everything now is organic. Well, don't believe that either. I see orchards all the time spraying stuff. This ground ain't set for 10 years without any chemicals on it. Guess what? It isn't organic. And of course, you know how the FDA approves stuff. We all got the jab. Well, some of us did. Some of us only got one. Some of us got more than one. But, and now everything is, well, I guarantee you that dead field right there has been sprayed. It looks a little bit green, but time and time again, it's been sprayed. Now, it could be a contact spray, right? But tell me something that you spray that dies and goes into that same ground. That chemical don't go with it. Tell me that. Please put in the arguments that, or the comments, the arguments. That's really what it is, the arguments. We'll argue that. Kind of like that apple. Will you eat an apple after you sprayed it with WD? It was just something I had on hand. I didn't have a herbicide sticking in my back pocket. So, I just try to keep common sense rolling. You know, I'm not the most educated idiot. But God did give us common sense for a reason. So if you think your fruits and vegetables are to save you from getting cancer, maybe they're causing cancer. Maybe it's not hereditary. Maybe it's not a fluke. You know? Look at all the brain cancer that we're getting nowadays. And the dementia and the Alzheimer's. You know, things go up and down for reasons. It doesn't have to be nuclear scientists to figure out what it is. It can be just plain old common sense. So, oh boy, the video's 20 minutes. Well, we'll see if she'll download. I'll see how many people are bored out of their mind for 20 minutes, and we'll listen. Put stuff in the comments. I finally figured out how to read them and how to re-comment to your comments. So I'm a big boy. I'll take all the criticisms, and hopefully there's a few encouragers out there. But I'm going to let you go so I can get my sprinting in. All right, have a good day. Stay carnivore strong. Amen.